Welcome to the You Were Designed for Greatness podcast. Each week we will bring you inspiring tips, stories, and ideas to help you be all that you can be, discovering your greatness. Featuring Donna Tashton. Donna is a transformational life and health coach, a highly sought-after public speaker, and the founder of Vibrant Living. She has helped hundreds find a better life, free of stress and living the greatness they were truly designed for. And now, your host, Donna Tashton.
Good morning, at least it is good morning for me, and welcome to You Were Designed for Greatness. This is podcast number 55, and today I have a special guest, Christine Bergma. Say hello, Christine.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Donna. Thank you for having me.
I am so happy we met in this new virtual world. And where are you on this beautiful morning?
Isn't it exciting, this beautiful new world? I am in Ontario, Canada.
So you are in Canada, and I am recording in Grand Rapids, Michigan. So this is interesting, and we have never met in person, and we're already friends. It's so cool. All right. So tell our listeners about you.
Thank you so much. As you said, I'm Christine, and I immigrated from South Africa when I was 21. So I've been living in Canada for almost 17 years. If anybody does the math, you'll know how old I am. I am a mom, I am a wife, and I'm a published author and a public speaker.
Awesome. So South Africa, I have no frame of reference. What was it like living there, and what caused you to immigrate to Canada?
South Africa is a beautiful country. It's at the very southern tip of the African continent. However, the reason we immigrated is I was driving back from my final exams in university, and I was mugged in broad daylight. And when I went to the police station, the officer told me, just be very glad you're not raped or murdered. Probably nothing's going to happen for you. And my mom also worked in very dire, very extreme circumstances. So we just thought for us as a family, it would just be better to live somewhere where it is safer for us. And that is what the impetus was.
What made you choose Canada?
We've always loved Canada.
Mm-hmm.
And if anybody out there believes in signs, that day that I was mugged, we got a magazine on travel to Canada. And we're like, all right, that's it. It's Canada.
Wow. That must have been really frightening.
Donna, it was so frightening. And being out of that environment, I understand now how constant fear really affected my life. It was, you can't be inside your house, you're scared. You're afraid for your life. You're outside, you're scared for your life. It is, there's no place, no physical place that you feel safe. And that really has very detrimental effects on your mental health as well.
As far as your physical health too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Physical health, it's that spiritual, mental, and physical trifecta.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. So you're a young 21-year-old with a family, moving to a completely different culture, completely different environment. So tell me what happened.
And now that you say environment, it's such a cliche, but we moved from 35 degrees Celsius above to minus 35 degrees in Toronto airport in 2 days. So that alone was a shock on the system.
Probably didn't have clothing for it.
That's the thing. When when the people came to pick us up at the airport, they said, "This is what you're wearing." I said, "That's all I have." Nobody makes warm clothes. The climate is not the same. And apart from that, dealing with the snow, dealing with that deadly silence of winter when everything is covered in, miles and miles of snow, there was also that cultural difference. Also, I do speak English very well. It is my second language, however. So there was nuances that you had to get used to, just how people live, how people think about things. So personally for me, that was quite something to become accustomed to, because I know there was no going back. So the only thing that you can do in these circumstances is sort of try and figure it out.
Right. So you were finishing your degree in South Africa. And so what happened to your education when you got to Canada?
Very great question. So I was 21, like you said, so there was no going back to high school. My brothers, they were much more fortunate in that regard. They were able to get a Canadian qualification and education, and they could go on to Canadian universities. For me, however, I was almost done with my law degree, but how it is set up, and I'm not sure about the States, but in Canada, you can't just transfer the credits. You'd have to go to automatically you are entered into an undergrad, which at that point in time, coming from quite a dysfunctional family at that, there was no money for me to study. There was always money for everybody else, but when it came to me, there was no money. So I had to really be resourceful and say, okay, now what? What am I going to do? This is terrible. I have no more friends, no more family. I have no degree to rely on, no career. What do I do?
What did you do?
Right. So fortunately, I started working at a restaurant because as part of my studies in high school, I'm also a trained chef. I was very fortunate to go to private school, so at least I had some skills that I could rely on, and those skills transfer. An omelet's an omelet, right? So right. I was able to get a job, and my first paycheck was $27. And it was the best thing in my whole life. I was like, I'm halfway to getting myself winter boots. This is fantastic.
Oh my. You always remember that first paycheck.
Don't you? And it like to the number. Oh, now it's like 2 Starbucks and you're done. But at that point, it was me trying to find myself again and trying to just survive. And I think looking back on it too, being from a country that you're such in a physical discord with everything and it's so violent and so crime-filled, you're surviving there. And now I come to this new country and now I need to survive again. Yes. At least the crime factor wasn't there, right. But now there's no support. There's no money. There's no nothing. So I worked at the restaurant for a bit, then I worked at the convenience store. And luckily then there was a lady who worked at the bank and she came into the convenience store every day and she offered me a position as a bank teller. And then things just started to be not $27 for a day's work.
Yes.
So that was helpful.
So, I mean, 21, we're still figuring ourselves out. Even in the best environment, we're still discovering who we are. We're not who our parents were trying. I'm not always who my parents said I was or what my friends were like. It's like, what do I like? And what do I want to accomplish? And not only did you change your whole world, but now you're in a country with basically no support and figuring it out on your own. How did you transverse that as such a young age of completely changing everything?
And you make such a good point on it. You say you're still trying to figure yourself out at 21, just regardless of what your circumstances are. So for me, I've always been extremely goal-oriented. And if I have a plan, if I can write down a plan to say, okay, this is what I need to do to get to point A, B, C, D. So that is what I did. Financially, I said, I don't want to just get by. I would like to have a good life. Not excessive, just a really good life that I can feel secure and abundant in. I would like a house. I would like to be able to buy the daily necessities that I need. I never want to be in that frame of mind where scarcity is a mindset. The other thing too for me is that I needed to reinvent myself to a certain extent. Like you said, you're still trying to figure out who you're not. You're not that girl that's your parents' kid anymore. You're not, because I didn't have any friends here. So right. I had to decide what type of friends do I want now. It's not the same you grew up with. And that took a lot of internal sort of maneuvering. I wrote down journals and journals and journals just on who I really am and who I would like to be. So I read tons of self-help books, listen to podcasts, listen to people like yourself, Donna, who does coaching, who help people through who you really, really are.
Right.
So it took almost 4 years, I would say,
Yeah.
back to back, just to establish that core authentic self again.
I am always telling my clients, and I'm working on a new program that I'll be releasing the first part of the year. But if we could grasp how important it is to write down a vision of where you want to go and really focus on that, because I have a feeling you looked at it regularly to keep yourself on track.
Absolutely.
And I've got new boots, check. It's like...
and they're warm.
I got a new coat, check. It's like, and being able to do, what do I want my life to look like? And it doesn't really matter what stage you're in, whether you're 21 or 45, it doesn't matter whatever you're in, because if you want your life to change, it starts with creating a vision for where you want to go. And I have a feeling you're living in a house, you have a husband, you have a good life. Not only that, you have a business.
You're absolutely right.
So what is your business?
Right. So going through all these personal challenges of mine, I also used a guided journal. And that sparked the idea of all this research, all this life experience that I had, I would like to give back to the community. So I created journals for people going through life-altering events. There's not one specifically for immigration now that I think about it, but there's an alignment journal that anybody can use, and cancer, loss and grief, infertility, all these really, really life-altering circumstances where you need to find your true self. So I created these journals. They're based in psychology, based in science, based in a holistic approach. And coaches, psychologists, psychiatrists all use them in their practices to help other people.
Awesome. And what's this company called?
Thank you. It's called Journaling Through. So you can journal through your life, like you said, write it down. And I think, just if I may, to your point of writing it down, if you just think about it, our minds are so filled with thoughts all day long, it's going to just fly out the window in the next 10 minutes. Whereas if you write it down, it's concrete. You can look at it, like you said, and you can even revisit it year after year after year to make it current.
Yes, it's journaling is powerful. And I think everybody knows it, but not everybody understands doing it. The biggest complaint, if you will, I hear is, I'm looking at a blank sheet of paper. I don't know where to start. And then the other thing is, which is if I start, I don't want to focus on all that crap. So I just pretend it's not there. That doesn't work either.
Because then it's going to come out when you least expect it, or at least want it to come out. Right?
What I often say is, if you bury it alive, it comes back. Yes.
Like zombie.
Yes, like a zombie.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And you're absolutely right. If it's a blank piece of paper, it's so hard because it's overwhelming. You're not in a mental state of calm or relaxation, so you can't. And that is what these powerful journals do. They help you. They guide you. It's not just a blank piece of paper.
So it looks like there's like questions and things, and then you can journal off of that, and it gets you going. It primes the pump.
Right. That's exactly it. That's exactly it. And there's meditations and visualizations, and there is free form as well, but it is mostly prompts, and it's exciting. It's nice. It's sort of like a worksheet that you can work on yourself, and it doesn't have to be that overwhelming.
Good. And it's personal, and you can work it on it as your own pace. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, staying to our 15-minute-ish time frame, we are wrapping up here. And I knew our time together would go quickly. I said that in the beginning. We could talk for a long time about this. But what's the one thing, the best advice that you can think of that helped you make a transition and discover who you really were?
The biggest thing for me was to trust in divine timing, to say that everything's not going to be fixed today. This is your life, and if you're building a solid foundation, you have to take your time. There's no quick fixes to getting healed. There's no quick fixes. Trust yourself, trust your intuition, but also trust the process. Don't hurry it.
I love that. I know that you believe in empowering women and helping them discover how amazing they are, which is what this podcast is called. What words would you tell about helping women as we wrap up, kind of like a final thought, that you would say to women to help them to feel empowered and to be resilient?
Thank you. And absolutely, women is largely my demographic as well in the business, to say that our bodies, our minds, our emotions go through so many changes throughout our lifetime that if you look back and you write it down, you have the skills within you. You are resourceful. Start believing that. Believe in yourself. You are going to change, but you've got this. You really, really have got this. Get back to your authentic self. Learn who you are so that you can be that bright, shining light.
Yes. And as Donna always says, get a coach or get support. Because sometimes when it's overwhelming, we can't do it alone. And like you said, the journals are used by professionals to be able to help people. So, but we are stronger than we think. And we discover our strength when we're going through those difficult times. And I wouldn't want to repeat them, but I learned so much from mine.
I like that. Yeah, I wouldn't want to repeat mine either. I'm good.
I'm good. I don't need to repeat it, but I did learn from it. And knowing that I can be stronger than I think. Well, I will include links to where people could get their journals if they would like to, and be able to connect with you when this podcast is aired. And I want to thank you today for being with me.
Thank you, Donna. It was such a pleasure and a blessing.
I love my conversation with Christine today. And I was thinking about the things that I have learned through the painful or difficult childhood and teenage years that I had. And I wouldn't want to repeat them, but without getting help, I don't know that I would be free from them. And journaling was part of it, but there was other resources that I used to be able to live a vibrant life and to not only get past my past, but to use the things that I've learned to impact women around the world. And if you find yourself feeling like Groundhog Day, I heard it said some people live to around 90 years, but most people live 1 year over and over and over again. And nothing really changes. And if you would like something more, then having a conversation with me would be a strategic action and a safe and simple one to move forward. You simply go to my website, iVibrantLiving.com, click on the Schedule Now tab, and choose your strategy session. And I will look forward to talking to you soon. And until next time, remember, you were designed for greatness.
Thank you for joining us on this powerful episode of the You Were Designed for Greatness podcast. Please share this with others who might enjoy it. For more info on Donna Tashjian or to contact her, visit iVibrantLiving.com.